Smiling.
Welcome back to Los Angeles, Manny.
Boss,
We miss you.
you're looking in tremendous shape. You're ready to fight Barrios tonight and make history, Manny.
Manny, you excited to step into the ring again?
Yes.
It's a joke, really. There's the thought. It's an absolute joke. I love Manny Pacquiao. Love everything about him. An all-time great in terms of what he's done previous, but that doesn't entitle you to just walk back in after 6 years and get a number 4 ranking with the WBC and fight for a world title. What about all the other guys that are waiting around? It's wrong. We seen Manny Pacquiao fight an exhibition against a kickboxer in his last fight, and kickboxers can't box, right?
Manny Pacquiao's decision to return to boxing at age 46 has sparked intense debate in the sport. Barrios is 29 years old, the current WBC champion, and holds a record of 29 wins with 18 knockouts and 2 losses. Pacquiao hasn't fought professionally since 2021 and hasn't won a bout since 2019. Despite that, WBC elevated him into their top 5 rankings, clearing the way for him to challenge for the title. Many within boxing, including analysts, former champions, and even longtime fans, have voiced their concerns, arguing that this is not only unearned, but dangerous given his age and time out of the ring.
Manny Pacquiao getting back in the ring again for a world title fight.
Well, obviously, it definitely has to do with money, 1. 2, I think Manny Pacquiao, I think his C game is a lot better than anybody, a lot of guys' A game, even with the age. But you have to take into account the last time he stepped foot in that ring, man, against Ugas. You know, he didn't look good. He was outmatched by, a fighter, a younger fighter. Barrios is no slouch. Barrios is a young fighter, bigger fighter, knows how to, control distance very.
Pacquiao, however, has made his position on the matter clear. Speaking from training camp, his message was blunt and unwavering. When told about those warning him not to take the fight, he responded, "Forget them all." He dismissed the criticism outright, saying those opinions didn't matter to him and never have. According to his team, Pacquiao was angered not just by the doubts, but by the suggestion that he had nothing left.
You're looking in tremendous shape. You're ready to fight Barrios tonight and make history, Manny.
Manny, you excited to step into the ring again?
Yes.
What do you think of Barrios? He's a big, strong, he's young, he's 30. You have 16 years on him, Manny.
Don't worry about it. Manny, for a lot of people, you're the greatest fighter in history. The only.
For Pacquiao, the motivation to fight again is not financial. He has said repeatedly that money is not the reason he's stepping back into the ring. Instead, he claims this is about proving something to himself, to his supporters, and perhaps even to boxing as a whole. He doesn't see the passage of time as a disqualifier. Rather, he sees it as another obstacle to overcome, just like the weight jumps, the tough opponents, and the political battles he's fought both inside and outside the ring. "I've been doubted before," he said during a recent interview. "This is nothing new."
Oscar does comeback. He's coming back. Yeah, 40 seconds. Thank you. For the WBC title at 147.
Thank you. I wish him all the best.
Quadra, I love him. Can he do it? Quadra?
Can he do it? Absolutely.
It's a Mexican guy.
Manny Pacquiao's
Oscar needs.
He's a legend,
Some nice ones. Thank you.
He's a legend. I think he can do it. Absolutely. I mean, it's not going to be easy, but I think he can do it. Yeah.
Some voices in boxing have not held back their criticism. Trainer and commentator Teddy Atlas called the match irresponsible. He pointed out that Barrios is in his physical prime, hits hard, and doesn't fight with caution. Atlas believes that putting a 46-year-old in front of a hungry, active champion is asking for trouble. Timothy Bradley, a former opponent of Pacquiao and now a broadcaster, also spoke out. He said he respects Pacquiao immensely and doesn't doubt his courage, but questioned the logic of coming back after years away and going straight into a title fight. In his words, sometimes a great legacy is best preserved as it is. There's also been controversy around the WBC's decision to fast-track Pacquiao into a title shot. He hadn't fought in almost 4 years and had no current ranking before being placed among the top 5 welterweights, effectively leapfrogging over active contenders who had been working toward title opportunities. This move drew accusations that the sanctioning body was more interested in making money than maintaining integrity. Mauricio Sulaiman, president of the WBC, defended the decision by saying that legends like Pacquiao deserve special treatment. According to him, Pacquiao had passed all required medicals and was undergoing a high-level training camp, so there was no reason to prevent him from competing. He added that boxing history is shaped by fighters like Pacquiao who go against the odds.
Yeah, it's surprising. Obviously, I know Manny very well. You know, he's a true competitor. He's a guy that if you put something in his head, and obviously to create more history, he's a guy that's going to give everything and try his best. That's what Manny. One thing I always learned with Manny is give 110% and try your best no matter what. So yeah, he's going to give it his all. Again, you can't beat Father Time, but Father Time is hard, and it was very hard watching him fight Lucas. You could see it, and then watching the exhibition he had with the Korean guy or the Japanese guy.
Behind the scenes, Pacquiao's camp is taking his return seriously. Freddie Roach, his longtime trainer, is back in charge and has said publicly that if he thought Pacquiao couldn't win, the fight wouldn't be happening. Roach said that Pacquiao's reflexes are still sharp and his movement remains better than most younger fighters. However, the camp has adjusted their training regimen. There's less sparring, more focus on precision, and a heavy reliance on interval-based conditioning instead of old-school volume routines. Roach emphasized that they're not trying to make Pacquiao 28 again, they're trying to maximize what he still has at 46.
I haven't let him choose anyone yet, but the thing is, it's just his heart has. He said he wants one more fight, and then his wife called me up and said, "Don't let him fight, don't let him fight." And I try to be on her side and so forth. But like when a man in the sport wants to fight, you know, sometimes he's gonna fight. Yeah, I agree with you. He's gonna fight, and you know who? It doesn't matter.
Another key figure in Pacquiao's preparation has been Sugar Ray Leonard, who was brought in not as a trainer, but as a mentor. Leonard has spoken with Pacquiao several times about the mental side of making a comeback at an older age. Leonard advised him not to try and mimic his younger self in the ring, but instead to embrace a different style, one that controls rhythm, spacing, and timing, rather than relying on non-stop aggression. Leonard reportedly told him, "This isn't about proving the world wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you still belong." Barrios, for his part, has remained professional but confident. He has said that he respects Pacquiao's legacy and called him one of the greatest to ever box, but made it clear that he has no intention of being a footnote in someone else's comeback story. He said he's training harder than ever, not because of the name, but because of what's at stake. This is his first defense of the WBC title, and he doesn't want anyone to say it was handed to him or came at a weak moment in the division. Barrios has youth, height, and momentum on his side, and he's determined to use all of it when they meet in the ring.
Barrios doing the everything but unifying with boots. Hey man, let me tell you, Barrios has always been the biggest fight, and now if he fights and beats Pacquiao, he's the bigger fight, you know? And I told y'all, I'm not gonna let y'all forget, I told y'all that I was told Barrios would be the last piece. He'd be the last piece, you know? He's gonna wait, just like Plant did, Barrios will. They already offered Barrios an offer to fight Norman, and he turned it down. They said they was busy, and obviously they was. Look, the Pacquiao news broke. So Barrios will be the last piece. They're gonna sell that belt to Boots and Eddie top dollar.
From a stylistic perspective, this is not an easy matchup for Pacquiao. Barrios is taller, longer, and throws crisp combinations. He fights behind a tight guard and uses his jab to control range. Pacquiao, historically, has been most successful against opponents who give him space to jump in and out. At 46, his ability to dart in with the same speed may not be the same, and Barrios has the kind of steady, punishing approach that doesn't let older fighters rest. Pacquiao will have to rely on timing, experience, and angles, areas he's mastered in the past but hasn't tested against an active top fighter in years.
He needs to do in that fight against Pacquiao, man.
I feel like he has to keep Pacquiao on the outside. He has a height and reach advantage, so I feel like he just go out there and do what he's always done.
What's your prediction for that fight?
Mario Barrios victory.
Do you think it goes All 12 rounds,
I think he has what it takes to stop Pacquiao.
You surprised Pacquiao's coming out of retirement at 46?
I'm very surprised. I don't think anybody expected that. So.
The lead up to the fight will likely feature more debate, more warnings, and more pressure from people who want to see Pacquiao walk away for good, but that's not who he is. He has said clearly that he chooses to fight because it's in his blood, not because anyone needs him to. The idea of being told to stop seems to offend him more than the fear of losing. He believes that greatness is about continuing when everyone expects you to stop.
But this, just like when they tried to get Jake Paul to fight Canelo, this reeks of intellectual and creative bankruptcy. Like you don't, this is just gonna be a fun event that makes money, but it does nothing really for the sport in the long term. It's a short term play to make money. It will make money. It's just the fight. It's like a concert. All right, it'll be cool. Okay, get to see Pacquiao. And I can't count Manny Pacquiao out because he's Manny Pacquiao. But I think as long as Barrios doesn't freeze up under the moment,
that belief is what drives this comeback. Whether it ends in triumph or defeat, Pacquiao seems intent on making the decision for himself, just like he always has. He is not asking for permission. He is demanding the chance to try. In the weeks leading up to Manny Pacquiao's return to the ring against Mario Barrios, predictions have ranged from cautious optimism to outright disbelief. Amid all the talk, one of the more surprising perspectives came from Terence Crawford, widely regarded as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. Speaking to Sporting News Australia, Crawford didn't mock Pacquiao's comeback or dismiss it as reckless. Instead, he called it a legitimate 50-50 fight, and even went as far as saying that Barrios is a great matchup for the former 8-division champion.
Manny Pacquiao versus Mario Barrios? Okay, if this was for a massive bag, I get it. But you're fighting for a non-pay-per-view event, so you're going to be fighting for free against a guy like Manny Pacquiao. Why? There are plenty of other fights to be making. But yet we're getting Manny Pacquiao and Mario Barrios. Is Manny Pacquiao even ready to fight in the ring? Why is he? I get he still loves the sport, but listen, you are an all-time great, and a legend of the sport, a Hall of Famer. Why return? Why not just go pursue other things? If anything, do a little cheap.
For Crawford to frame this fight as evenly matched is significant, especially because he's still in his prime and knows firsthand what it takes to stay at the top. Mario Barrios is a great matchup for Manny Pacquiao, and I think at this age, it's a 50 fight for Manny Pacquiao, Crawford said. While that statement seems to go against popular sentiment, it offers a different lens through which to view Pacquiao's decision. Instead of focusing purely on the 17-year age gap or Pacquiao's inactivity, Crawford emphasized style. Barrios, while strong and motivated, is hittable and methodical, and perhaps lacks the unpredictability that gave Pacquiao trouble in his later years.
Are you cool with Pacquiao against Mario Barrios?
I am. I'm cool with it. If I was cool with Manny Pacquiao coming back and fighting Keith Thurman, I'm definitely going to be cool with this one. Barrios is not a puncher. Thurman was a one-time, one of the biggest punchers in boxing. I think he's going to be just fine with Mario Barrios, who we know what he is on the top level. He comes up short. He's been stopped by fighters that are less than Manny Pacquiao and Davis.
Crawford's perspective stands out all the more given the avalanche of pessimistic commentary from other corners of the boxing world. Bob Arum, who promoted many of Pacquiao's most legendary bouts, expressed both admiration and serious concern. He's an incredible person, Manny Pacquiao, and if anyone can do it, it's him, Arum said. But I'm really worried given his age and inactivity. The 92-year-old promoter didn't hedge his words. He considers Pacquiao the best fighter he's ever worked with, but that history doesn't blind him to the dangers of returning to elite competition after nearly 4 years away.
It's 100% disrespectful. This is a clown fight. This is a more clown fight than the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. This is an outrage. People should be up in arms about this fight. This is so disrespectful. Barrios loses this fight, he should quit boxing. You let Manny Pacquiao, an old dude who stopped boxing, and then you're his first fight back? You are...
Eddie Hearn, another key voice in global boxing promotion, was even more direct. He will never beat Barrios in a million years, number one, and I don't even rate Barrios, Hearn told IFL TV. It wasn't just doubt, it was outright rejection of the idea that Pacquiao should be anywhere near this level of competition. Hearn acknowledged Pacquiao's legacy, but insisted it shouldn't be enough to justify a world title shot. He certainly shouldn't be fighting for the world title, Hearn continued. But of course, I'm not going to sit here and go, oh no, it was disgraceful that he fought Barrios, so I'm standing firm and not letting any of my fighters fight him.
All the champions on Boots' radar. I mean, I still think it's bizarre that Manny Pacquiao's fighting for a world title 5 years out of the ring and just not anywhere near at world level anymore. But that's boxing and it's the business and we understand it. I think for Boots, like we talked about fighters that want legacy, all he wants to do is fight the champions. And I think physically it'd be more beneficial for him to move to 154. But he just...
On the training side, Robert Garcia, one of the most respected minds in boxing, offered a preview that leaned more toward warning than analysis. Barrios is young. Barrios is a strong guy that could actually hurt Manny, Garcia told Boxing Scene in mid-May. Manny didn't look good in his last performance. This was a couple years ago, and it was kind of embarrassing to see Manny end up like that. Garcia's reference was to Pacquiao's 2021 fight against Yordenis Ugas, where his timing seemed off and he struggled to close distance. For Garcia, this comeback doesn't inspire confidence. Hopefully, he gets in really good shape, he added, but I don't see things going right with Manny at this point anymore. Then he said something more emotional. It might be sad to see Manny back in the ring. This wasn't about disrespect. It was about the discomfort that comes with watching legends age in a brutal sport.
I think we're gonna be worried about what happens in that fight because, Barrios may be the easiest of the champions. Maybe that's why Manny decided to come back and give it a try. But even then, Barrios is young. Barrios is a strong guy, that could actually hurt Manny. Manny didn't look good in his last performance.
Still, not everyone close to the sport feels it's a foregone conclusion. Former opponent Chris Algieri, who shared the ring with Pacquiao in 2014 and suffered a lopsided defeat, expressed cautious belief in the veteran's chances. Writing for Boxing Scene, Algieri acknowledged all the factors working against Pacquiao. The reality is also that Pacquiao is 46 years old, has had 72 fights, and has fought 498 rounds. That's a lot of training camps, a lot of weight making, and a lot of wear and tear, he wrote. He pointed out that Pacquiao's defining qualities, speed, explosiveness, risk-taking, are also the attributes that erode fastest with age. But Algieri didn't rule him out. He didn't say Pacquiao would win, only that he has enough experience, skill, and adaptability to do it if the right conditions align.
I think it's terrible, to be honest with you. I mean, it just sort of like sums up the way boxing is going these days. The WBC, I think, is for so many years has been known as the most respected out there. The famous green belt. Boxing just seems to turn a corner. A 58-year-old Mike Tyson fighting Jake Paul.
It's worth noting that Algieri's opinion carries some weight. He shared the ring with Pacquiao, and while that fight didn't go well for him, he saw firsthand what made the Filipino icon so dangerous. For Algieri to still consider him a threat, even at 46, is a nod to the depth of Pacquiao's abilities. Unlike others who question whether he still has anything left, Algieri seems to believe the fire might still be in there, just older and maybe needing the right moment to spark. One thread connecting these divergent opinions is the level of uncertainty involved. Crawford calls it a 50-50 fight. Garcia fears it could be an embarrassment. Hearn flat out rejects it as a serious matchup. Algieri walks a tightrope of concern and belief.
This is a bad idea. Out of nowhere, the WBC decides they want their welterweight champion, Mario Barrios, to defend his belt against Manny Pacquiao. About 7 to 8, maybe 9, 10 years ago, I would have said, hells yeah, if we had a Manny Pacquiao championship fight. But Manny's been retired for 4 years. He's 46.
Even Bob Arum, who has known Pacquiao for decades, seems conflicted. This doesn't happen often in boxing. Usually, a comeback at this stage is met with universal skepticism or clear support. The fact that even insiders are this split speaks to how difficult it is to forecast a fight like this. Nobody really knows which version of Pacquiao will show up. Then there's the mental side of things. Pacquiao is not returning for money. That much has been made clear. He's stepping back into the ring because he still wants it, because the ring is the only place where he feels like himself. That alone can't win a fight, but it does matter. When fighters come back for the wrong reasons, it usually shows quickly. They fold under pressure or fight without conviction. That's not likely to be Pacquiao's problem. He's never been shy about taking risks, even when they make no sense on paper.
Manny Pacquiao is coming out of retirement to fight Mario Barrios for the WBC world title. There's a lot to unpack here. I'm going to start with the fact he's coming out of retirement. It's a real shame that he sees the need at his age, 46 years old, to come out of retirement after 4 years out of the game, after 6 years since winning a fight. This
leaves Barrios in an unusual position. He's the younger, more active, fresher fighter, yet all eyes are on Pacquiao. A win won't necessarily elevate Barrios the way it would against a top welterweight in his prime, but a loss could devastate his standing. He's expected to win. If he struggles or gets outboxed, people will say he was exposed. If he wins too easily, they'll say he beat an old man. That's the weight of fighting a legend on the decline. It's hard to win in every sense, yet Crawford's assessment hangs over all of it like a quiet challenge. If someone like him, who has spent his career dismantling elite fighters, believes Pacquiao has a real chance, it forces others to reconsider their assumptions. Crawford didn't need to say what he said. He could have gone with the safe answer, it's a tough fight for Pacquiao. Instead, he chose to highlight the style matchup and give Pacquiao his due.
Gabe, what's up? Pacquiao will give any young fighter today problems, bro. Because these young fighters, they don't fight. Pacquiao does. So I'm just saying.
But this is the point I was gonna make. Do you feel?
At its core, boxing is about unknowns, styles, ages, motivation, rhythm. None of it guarantees a result. That's why fights happen. And in this case, even the people who know the game best are divided. Whether Pacquiao wins or not, this fight is already doing something rare, forcing people to look closer, think harder, and remember that no one in this sport ever truly has all the answers, especially when someone like Manny Pacquiao steps into the ring one more time. Well, what do you think? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more updates.